Hey y'all, thanks for coming back and joining me again today on this next installment of our social emotional learning series. Today we're focusing on the competency of friendship. This is always a big one in schools and at home as well, right? And talking to our kids about how to be a good friend, what that looks like, what to do when somebody isn't a good friend. So again, I'll start off with kind of a kid-friendly definition of friendship, although this one is probably more self-explanatory than some of the other ones. So liking, feeling comfortable with, and trusting in another person, right? And you can add to this to make it kind of work for your kiddos, but that's kind of a good just base definition. So what are some activities that we can use to help kids understand what it means to be a good friend? So some things that I've seen done, especially in classrooms, is making an anchor chart, right, to hang up on the wall. What makes a good friend? What are the qualities of a good friend? This is especially great to use if you are having trouble with friendship in your classroom group. So they can kind of see what are some of those what are sometimes referred to as like above the line and below the line behaviors or characteristics. How words feel is a great activity that you can find some resources for online. So the idea of using cotton balls and sandpaper to talk about how cotton ball words feel, being the positive, reaffirming words, versus how sandpaper words feel. And those are the more negative, hurtful words that we use in relation to our friends and the people that we love. We can role play. Friendship is a great one to role play with kids. What a good friend looks like, what a not so good friend looks like. They usually really enjoy this type of role play also because they get to have a reason to be mean and not get in trouble. So role play is a great one for this competency. There are some really great picture books. I know that I'm going to give you a list, but I couldn't help but share a couple of books specifically, especially if you're a primary teacher. You're probably familiar with these and you've seen lots of activities, but these two books, there are just so many great activities that you can find online that align to the books Rainbow Fish and Peanut Butter and Cupcakes that go along with the theme of friendship. So you'll find tons and tons of ideas online if you Google that. And then two others, a new friend scavenger hunt. So, find new friends that have certain things in common with you. You can do this a lot of different ways. You can do it as a scavenger hunt. You could do it as like a bingo where you're listing some common favorites and common interests, and they're looking for other people to help them, again, students in a classroom make connections with maybe some people that they haven't connected with prior, or to use at the beginning of the school year to help them get to know one another. So on to the books about friendship. Again, so many great ones. I know I say that every single time, and it's probably because I just love picture books so much. Please remember, if you have older kids or you teach an intermediate or middle school grade, that does not mean that you can't use these books. In my experience, and I have taught most grade levels between kindergarten and sixth grade in some facet, even our older kids love picture books and they love to talk about picture books. So please don't feel like you can't use these if you have older kids, because you absolutely can. And some of them are more geared toward the intermediate levels anyways. And the themes are a little bit deeper and higher level. So keep that in mind. But on our list, again, some of these are repeats because they overlap with some of the other competencies that we've talked about. Mo Willems has to make the list in my house, though. Leonardo the Terrible Monster. It's not one of the Elephant and Piggy or Pigeon books that we're used to, but this is another great book by Mo Willems. to use for friendship. Ordinary Mary's Extraordinary Deed, Those Shoes, The Invisible Boy. These are all great ones. The World Needs More Purple People, if you haven't read that. It's a fun one. So a lot of the crayon books, if you're a primary teacher, you probably know a lot of those books are great. Enemy Pie. Gosh, there are just so many great ones. So check out the list. And also, if you haven't, go back and look at, I've done a blog post and a YouTube video about my social emotional learning picture book list that has hundreds of book titles on it, broken down by all of these competencies that you can check out also. So hopefully that will get you started for friendship. And I look forward to seeing you back here for our next competency next time.